Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
On July 4th, 1962, I found myself in the lost and found of mankind. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that it wants to be there. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that the person who lost it doesn't care for that lost item.
You are writing moments that people will learn from, grow from, and heal through for thousands of years. Together, we are co-authoring a unique moment in time. That DNA, those fingerprints, they're going to be gone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But it is your story that they will tell for thousands of years. But only if you leave it. Things that do not serve you must go. The longer you wait, the more time you give them to trick you into serving them. 22 homes in foster care, everything I wore as a scar, as a shame, things that started like Velcro on my spirit. After just a few months, then years, then decades, I had believed myself into believing that they were indelible tattoos. Sometimes we have to be broken down to appreciate the view once we start getting up. I want you to leave this place and know that you have been changed. Why? How do I know it's true? Because each of you has just changed.
Don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
My favorite part of the day. I remember when I was a little kid, I used to get in trouble for doing stuff like that early in the morning. Now I get paid to do it. Make noise and create a bunch of chaos. It's not chaos. It's creative. It is purposeful. It is the fulfillment of a dream, of a promise. The promise is that one that guarantees us that when two or more of us, that's all it takes. Two of us to create spiritual magic, because we are fulfilling that promise that guarantees us that when two or more of us comes together with that mindset, y'all, that heart set, you know, that spirit of service to each other, you know what happens. Everything great. So welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. That's the bell of purpose. It's not a gimmick, not a show prop. It has been here all 6 years, and it is a reminder, an opportunity that when you hear that bell ring, you best believe, just like that bell has a ring to it, so does the truth. And we don't want you to miss it here on Bathrobe Moments. So when you hear that, lean in, tune in, take some of that ooey chewy goodness with you. Okay. Can I get an amen up in here? Let's kick it off. There's one on the screen. Put it in the comments. I want to know where you're viewing from. This is an immersive experience. I want to know how you feel, what you're thinking, your questions, your comments, the entire hour. So don't forget to be interactive. And the manner in which we bless others is the manner in which we ourselves will find ourselves being blessed. So share this out right now with one other person and watch what happens in your life. Something good, and I guarantee it. So welcome. How was your weekend? I had a great one. You know, my birthday was the 4th of July. Oh, and my guess, I know your birthday is because I was all up in your cabinets of social media this weekend because, you know, I had to find some stuff because somebody didn't send it to me. It wasn't him. It was somebody on his team. I'm just saying. So because he's a big guy doing big things. Anyway, Jon Block is here, Jon. You just love it when it's spelled like that, right? I do too. And which Sean? That's my ADHD coming in, y'all. SH or SE for Sean? Which one do you like? So anyway, I like SE. And just like I like JON for John. It's just a cool way. If I was named that, that's how I'd spell it. So anyway, I was all up in there and I saw that John is a July baby as well. So happy birthday to you, Jon Block. He's here today. I believe he's in California. I know that's where he resides. But I saw something that said he was from Chicago. What's up with that? What's up with that? What's up with that? Yeah, he's from Chicago or lived here. Something. We're going to get to the bottom of that. Anything else? Oh, so anyway, my birthday. And, you know, we had a party last Saturday. And on my birthday, I went to Casey and Sunshine Band. So my last birthday present was Saturday night. Went to Ross Matthews live. So funny. And he came down the audience and he came over right by me, tried to get me to go up on stage. My husband Brian was like, honey, why didn't you go? Scared to death. I'm not. I said, because I didn't wear Depends. Right. I was, oh my God, I can't believe it. I can go on stage when it's something I'm ready for and I know what's going to happen. But those comedians and stuff, you don't know what they're going to do. But it was a great night. We had a lot of fun. So what'd you do for the weekend? What's your highlight? Put in the comments. We want to know. So Jon Block is here and he has a lot of things that he could talk about. One of the things that I can't wait to delve into with John today, first of all, I'm going to meet him in person August 31st and September 1st, right here in Chicago at the Tinley Park Convention Center, where we both will be being blessed and poured into and blessing and pouring into others at the Xcellerator Business Summit headed up. At least 1,500 entrepreneurs. Their businesses and also provide social impact. Now, John's also been hired to train public speaking at HBO and Google. Who are they? Just kidding. He's also a graduate. Now, this is important. I know because I went there for a minute. John is a graduate of the USC Film School. That's like NYU, y'all. I don't know what you're saying. Come on, y'all better wake up. Don't fall asleep on John. He's a graduate of the USC Film School where he studied screenwriting. He produced 42 festivals and conferences over his career and has created multiple, more than one, six-figure businesses and has co-founded, this is the one I'm going to get into today. Are you ready? Co-founded 2 tiny house communities. That's like meeting someone who's like, what did you do all your life? I was a clown and I traveled at Barnum and Bailey's. You don't hear people, I don't anyway, who are involved in this tiny house community movement, I will call it. So I can't wait to get into that one today. And John is also the co-founder of Abundant HealthPreneur Tribe and the host and curator of the Red Pill, like in Matrix, maybe? The Red Pill XP 3-day in-person retreat. And he's there. He is empowering leaders to break free and liberate others from the systems of control on our planet. Take me to your leader. Don't play. It's happening. You just don't know it. Did you happen to catch your friends, your besties' eyeball spinning the other day? That's what it was. Anyway, he's not been here before, but he's here now. And you know what we do? Virtually stand to our feet, roll out that red carpet of purpose. We do it by throwing some hearts up on the screen. They're free, they're painless, and they're respectful. Do it now, because here he comes, Jon Block.
Yeah.
Hi, John. How are you?
Oh, I'm elated. Excited to be here.
At 6 a.m.
Couldn't be happier about it.
Your time.
Yes. So there's a Facebook little hack where you change your city so that you can see who to invite to the Xcellerator Business Summit. So that's why I was in Chicago for the weekend. So I was inviting people I was friends with in the area to the summit.
Oh, aren't you clever? Take that
try to
hack
be.
with you. By the way, just so you know, I eat on this show because people are eating while they're watching it. So, I mean, it's just like we come together for breakfast or something. I'm glad you're here. I'm going to dip out. See how I've learned how to talk with a mouth. Isn't that great? I'm working my way to being a ventriloquist.
You're a very skilled man.
Thank you. So I dip out because I like to give the guests an opportunity to kind of create their own vibe with everybody. So I'm going to pop out, come back in about a minute, take the floor, just say hello, let people know how you're feeling this morning. I'll be right back. All you.
Love it.
All you.
I'm excited to be here. I love that intro. I would say that what really excites me is transformation and community. So transformation, behavior change. Are we looking at our own patterns that don't serve us, that might be causing havoc or just internal unrest or stress in our system? And do we make those changes, whether it's eating healthier, whether it's changing how we think, how we communicate? So that's really what excites me in life, is how we're always evolving. The second thing is community, bringing people together in person. I've been professionally hosting events since 2008, and they're in person. And that's where the magic happens. You can feel the energy and the vibe of someone, and you can hug and you can have those conversations in the parking lot and car pulled back unexpectedly with people. All the magic that comes with in-person community is like oxygen. So this format I'm really excited about because I have no idea where we're going to go with this. The tiny houses is one thing we can talk about, certainly. I'm also turned on by public speaking and how media entertainment can influence lives in a very positive way and too often does not. So we can look at that as well.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Just so you know, you don't have to pay the price later. Let me help you out here. A little something you left out of all those illustrious things that you have to serve the world through when you didn't mention your beautiful girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'm just looking out, bro. I only say that because I just love her. And you guys make such an awesome, powerful team. Go ahead and mention.
Thank you.
Please,
She's not really
she'll be here
big
too.
on my mentioning it publicly, and because it's you, we go wherever you want to go. So it's just that, well, she wants to be seen for herself. I think maybe it's some conditioning from just having to make it as a woman in business that she doesn't want to be known as like the girlfriend.
Well, no, I'm really trying to throw your You know what they say: behind every great man, or in front of every great
Well,
man,
it
is a
makes me
good
look damn good to be with her. So for that reason alone, it's worth sharing. So that's Dr. Mansi Shah. She has 5 different businesses. So she's the first woman of color to found a hedge fund in the U.S. She owns a stem cell clinic in Guadalajara. She is really dedicated to alternative medicine becoming mainstream. That's the business we share together with Abundant HealthPreneur.
Yes.
She is tough-minded, independent, devoted to sovereignty, and will do whatever it takes to liberate others so they get to their sovereignty. That's a bond that she and I share. And she's at the Xcellerator Business Summit as well, speaking.
Yes, and she's gonna be here. She's so busy on the road and whatnot. She's gonna be here. I'll give you guys that date before we leave today. Wait a minute. I can give it to you now, actually. I know. Oh, she's here. When is she here? Monday, August 14th. Mark your calendar. August 14th. Dr. Muncie will be here. So I know we talked about all these things. I can't wait to talk about this red pill, about public speaking, the fear of it and all that. But first, because if I don't, I'll be like my ADHD. I'll be like, I got to ask about the tiny community, the tiny houses. I got to ask. So I found a little clip that I wanted to take just a minute to look at, so you can kind of tell us, is it really like this? Because I can't believe everything you see. So anyway, take a look at this. It is the 12 best tiny house communities.
Imagine a lifestyle where you can simplify, downsize, and connect with a like-minded community, where small becomes monumental and living large takes on a whole new meaning. Let's explore and get ready to be inspired as we take you to some of the most livable tiny house communities in the USA. Join us as we uncover the hidden gems of Arizona, Michigan, California, and many other states where tiny homes are more than just a trend. They're a lifestyle choice embraced by a vibrant community. Whether you dream of waking up to sincere lakeside views, immersing yourself in nature's embrace, or relishing the energy of an urban setting, there's a tiny house community tailored to your desires.
Okay, what did you just see?
I saw our tiny house block community. I haven't seen this video.
You haven't?
No, I haven't seen that one.
You literally saw yours.
Mm-hmm.
So you live in one?
No.
Or you built
not
one?
For me. I like hosting too much for that.
Thank you. Tell us about your involvement in it and the whole thing. What is this? It just looks fun.
Well, it's a lot of things. Fun can be one of them. It was November 2018, and my sister, I give her the full credit. She had the vision of creating the first tiny house village in Southern California. So she had put different tiny homes, not entirely legally, at the back of her property, and another one of her rental properties that she owned. And then she got busted by a neighbor. That's really all it takes, is a neighbor saying that I'm not okay with my neighbor having a tiny house in their backyard. And at the time, the ADU, accessory dwelling unit laws, had not been passed. You weren't allowed to put any tiny houses in your backyard.
What if you called it a she shed?
She probably tried that, but I mean, people were living in it. So there was that.
Okay, go on.
And she was renting them out. So she looked into it and saw that if she purchased an RV park, that we could convert it into a tiny house village, because legally these are homes on wheels, so it falls under the same jurisdiction. So we bought an RV park in November 2018, and we named it Tiny House Block after our last name. And we now have 25 tiny houses there that we rent out short-term and long-term. We found that long-term tenants are just easier to manage and really creates that sense of community. And we have about 5 that function like a hotel that people could check in for a one-night minimum. So people will use it as, like, Valentine's Day is really popular during the holidays. Our busiest week is between Christmas and New Year's if families coming up, because it snows in this part of San Diego. Yes, I said it, snow in San Diego. And because we're in the mountains, we're an hour east.
Oh, okay.
Only an hour east from the beach. And you can feel like you're on a whole other planet.
Wow.
Yeah. And I love
like an Airbnb too. Can you come into one like an?
Yeah, so 5 of them, like I said, is a short-term, like, Airbnb we put them up on.
So, but the people who do this long term, real quick, because I don't want to take up the whole interview on time. I was just so curious. I need a show on this one. Um, what is the mindset of this community of the people? What makes a person? I know there's the minimalistic mindset. I mean, that's like downsizing to the nth degree. But what do you find, John, is the most important thing to those who make this their ongoing, long-lasting community?
Minimalism, you pretty much hit it. This belief that less is more, that they wanna simplify their life and just declutter. They all have had the experience of having too much stuff, and then when you have a bigger home, you have to decorate it more, you have to clean it more. Obviously, it's more expensive.
Yeah.
Also, up there is a real love of nature. So, we're in the mountains. We're actually inside the Cleveland National Forest. So, it's stunning. Your whole system relaxes whenever you come home in ways that I could not if you live in a big city. Another thing is the community. People really want to know their neighbors. They don't want to be up on each other like an apartment complex. You're sharing walls. These are all detached tiny homes. So you
Right.
have that sovereignty of your own space. At the same time, you're only 30 feet away from your neighbor. So people do regularly visit with each other, and there's a certain charm, and you get to feel a connection with people.
So how? Okay. What if a person was 6'5"? Could they live in a tiny house?
They would do best with a single story one. So a lot of them are lofts. So you would climb up a ladder to get to the bed. A 6'5" person would probably not enjoy that because
Yeah,
there isn't
that's short, folks.
a lot of ceiling room
Oh
on when
my
you have 3 of
God.
Yeah.
So if there was one thing that last question about tiny houses, if there was one thing that people don't know that you know about this thing, this thing, it's I just love it. It's more than a community. I think it's something else too. But what is the one thing that you think people don't have a clue about as far as the kind of people that live in a tiny house? You know, I saw it on a movie once and I thought, that's cute. It was a series. It was a series. And the kid, I think it was I can't remember the name of it, but it was one of them. Somebody was they came and pulled it and put it in front of their friend's house. It was gonna live right out there on the street in it. And that was the first time I'd ever seen a tiny house. I had no idea they would turn into like big communities. So what is it that you would hope people would know about it, maybe to be more accepting of it or just say, give it a chance?
Well, one thing that some people tend to think is that we are the solution to the quote affordable housing crisis. That's a buzz phrase that you hear a lot. So that's why we exist, is to provide a solution to the affordable housing crisis. That's never been how we've seen it. This is a lifestyle choice, and we put a lot of time and money into making this a real desirable place to live. And it's for people who are seeking a higher vibration, you might say, in terms
Uh-huh.
of having freedom from, this is one of the matrices that we might get into, is this expectation of living in the city and being on a hamster wheel and trying to make as much money to pay for your 2,500 a month downtown apartment, right? That's about the size of a tiny house when you get down to it anyhow.
Right?
So to break free from that notion is a choice, and to have the nature and the relationships with people is something that you'll pay less than that 2,500 significantly. Yet it's something that you do as a choice, you opt into, not because you're broke and can't afford anything else.
Okay. So you have a lot of branches. I noticed a lot of branches. And so, but you're the tree. So I want to ask you this. We'll start moving into some of the other areas of your work. So I'll start here. In all the branches that are connected to you, all the things you do, um, what would you say is that common connector between everything you do that you know is your jam as far as easing suffering in this world?
Well, it's what I shared earlier, the transformation and community. So I got behind the Tiny House Village project for those two reasons, that I could link it to, if somebody were to move from the big city into a tiny house village in the mountains, that would be a
Right.
transformation. That's going to bring out the best of them. And transformation to me is uh, usually aligned with someone having greater health, like their nervous system is going to be more relaxed, their mind is going to be clear, they're going to be more in their hearts and more connected to people, which is the second thing, which is community, that they're going to feel more a deeper sense of relatedness with people. And to me, the quality of our life is the quality of our relationships. So if I can move the needle and create closer relationships with people, that's what I'm going to do. And every event I've done has been with that intention, transformation and community.
So that's your big piece right there, assisting people in transforming and how to communicate along the way and once they get there. So speaking of the communication piece, a lot of us, I already know, raise your hand if you agree. A lot of us have a real hard time with public speaking. I think it's 80% is what they throw out there. A lot of the population has a fear of public speaking. So now, and I do this for a living. And I get nervous and stuff, but what is it what do you find is the number one fear for most people as far as getting up and sharing through story in front of other people?
It's primal, because the fear of public speaking really goes back to this knowing that this could turn to an angry mob and they could rip you apart literally. So that doesn't go away. One-on-one is not as intimidating because you feel if it came down to it, I could run, I could maybe go at it one-on-one physically, take this person on. But in a public speaking scenario, forget it. Like they could literally kill you. And there's that sense of facing a firing squad. So once you recognize that that is just instinctive, it's primal, you can recognize it and say, all right, well, what do I choose instead? Do I choose that the transformation I'm committed to, impacting this audience, is more important to me? The growth that I have as a leader every time I get up, is that more important to me? And especially if you're using it to grow your business, is making money more important to me than to just be stuck in the fear? And I feel really strongly about this because I believe it's tragic where oftentimes the people who are most fearful, the ones who have no fear, I'll just go up and grab any microphone and just keep talking. Like those people, I kind of wish would stop doing that.
Like
right?
those people that shouldn't do karaoke. Or when you're singing a solo and you're like really into it and it's good, and they want to come up and do a duet and you don't even know them, that kind of thing. Yeah.
That kind of thing. And on one hand, it's like, yeah, that's so great that you're fearless and you just want to go up there and share yourself. But that is not the high point of communication, is not self-expression. A lot of people think that. Either you have two options, either mute yourself or go full volume. That's not true. It's the quality of the volume. Just like music or anything you're listening to, the quality matters a whole lot. And I found that people who are really afraid of public speaking, and I was one of those people myself,
Me too.
we tend to be in our heads a lot. So the plus side is that we think about things more critically than others. We actually have better insights because we observe a lot. So you take an observer and then you put that person on stage, they got something real valuable to share.
So before we get into how you help people get past themselves, to get out of their way so that they can effectively speak and present, I want to ask you, because in your bio it said over 500 times you've done this. Now, I already know because I do it. But when you're on the circuit, or you're, especially being out there in San Diego, every time I come out there, pretty much I see at least 2 or 3 speakers that were on the stage when I was out there before, or I just, it just is. And some people who speak, if you've seen them enough, you can stand in the back of the room and actually lip sync their entire piece. This is where he's gonna get teary. Oh, now it's where he's gonna tell the story about his brother and this. And I'm not saying that to pick anything apart, but let's talk about that. Is that the same thing as what you teach people to do? Because I don't think it is.
I love this question, and it's a very emphatic no would be the answer. I know what you're talking about, and look, I used to teach signature talk. That was my thing that people paid to attend my 3-day seminar. And I believe that it has a purpose. That's why I taught it. is to really have a system down. So you can think of a signature talk as a marketing system for your business. The most powerful marketing you can do is public speaking, the positioning it gives you as a leader. There's also the stage effect, right, related to that, where people assume you know what you're talking about because of you being on stage, versus in a one-on-one, it's more up in the air, right? So when you have a real well-crafted presentation where you're doing pretty much the same thing every time, yes, that's how you would have a system that you can just turn on, and that creates clients. Now, the next level beyond that, which is really where I hang out in as much as possible, is really about what's going to really transform an audience. So if you're in the audience thinking, well, I've seen this before, you're not getting transformed. The goal is, what's it like to transform lives when they've already seen you before, yet they get something new every time. And certainly the first people to see you really get blown away. Just like a great movie that you keep coming back to and you get something different every time. You want to think of your talk like that. So what we train in, and this is one reason I love multi-day events. So that's where the biggest transformation happens. Anyone who's watching this thinking about being a speaker, I would highly, highly urge you to also consider concurrently leading multi-day events. What it would be like. A lot of people have this voice saying, I'm not ready. If you've ever been to an in-person multi-day event and had your life transformed, that's your indication you can probably do it yourself, that you got it in you. And the beauty of that is you're really able to showcase all parts of yourself in the course of a 1 hour, like keynote type presentation. Yeah, it would make sense to have your set really dialed in for that. And that's where it tends to be like the same thing. What I'm more drawn to, though, is this leading a conversation where you would make a point. Like, for instance, if I was training communication, I would make a point that expressing ourselves and just saying, I'm living loud and proud, is not the highest form of communication. Where have you hit a ceiling in terms of that? And what do you think is next beyond that? Right. And then to open up curiosity, take some shares. What's the next level? As we train it, the next level is to unify in every single interaction, really making connection the priority. If you need to hear something from me in order to feel respected, that's all I'm going to say, as opposed to, well, I don't feel like saying that because that's not who I am, which is what some people would do. That's a lesser form of communication. So then we might have share, like, where have they been in this, what we call level 2, like I'm expressing myself, versus one have they been in level 3, which is I'm unifying in every interaction. And because I'm sourcing from the room, it's different every time. And that's where the gems really come from. The gems come from the audience, not from the speaker.
Yeah, right. I agree. Now, I hope I don't hurt anybody's feelings out there. If so, Moonstruck, get over it. I'm just saying, I had to put that out there because I'm going there. Listen, I want us to talk about the difference, because in my coaching program, it is a rule of thumb. It's just because I don't want to tell people what they can or cannot do, but inside my houses, tiny as they may be, see how I did that? And that means my brands and whatnot, just like you have employee handbooks and you have a community mission statement anywhere you go. I kind of have that inside my coaching. And one of the rules for housekeeping purposes is that I promise them, because the model is you do the work, I'll provide the stages. And that doesn't mean just my events or other coaching clients' events, because we do fill our stages with each other first before we go to the outside, because it's just easier. But we do that to be fiercely protective of our mission. So where I'm going with this is, let's talk about the difference and I think people need to understand this from the gate before they get on a stage and utter the first syllable. Are you there speaking to sell, or are you there speaking to tell? And when you choose your stages, I don't personally, that's how the Power Week Symposium, my event, came about 7 years ago, because I did an event with a marketer and I didn't know there was a thing called pay to play. And I saw backstage, because it was my event, half of it, some of the non-integral things, the angles, the poaching, all the things that just, I was so busy watching my people because people were trying to sell them this and sell them that backstage, or the way that I saw speakers literally comparing notes on their phone. See this woman, don't even try to sell your package to her. She had to borrow money to get here. It was just horrible. And I left there and I said, I will never do that. And so I personally do not allow people to pay to be on my stages, and I don't pay to be on stages because I believe when a person buys that space, they buy the right to say or do whatever they want. And if it's not in alignment with my mission of service to the people I have that trust me and I trust them, the two-way feed for us to come together and grow together, I just don't do it. Tell me what your thoughts are, because you've been to a lot of different, every kind of event I can possibly imagine, I'm sure.
Yes.
And am I right or wrong? Is there a difference?
Yeah, most certainly. Anyone who goes to these events is certainly considering being a professional speaker. You got to find your own alignment with this. And you certainly have, Dr. Lauren, and I have. And if you don't find your own compass for this, then you'll fall for anything. And you could be very jaded and disoriented with the whole industry and then feel like a victim.
Right. I keep getting burned, all these
Mhm.
promises, and it never happens. And it's not even really, you can't blame it all on the person that duped you. Because, and that's another piece, John. It's like, it seems like more people in the audiences will go for those things they know they can't afford. They know that, I don't know what it is. They like some magical Cinderella spell. And then they take it back into their own world, into their own space, and they cancel, or they buy it and they never even watch they don't show up. Let's put it that way. Whether it's virtual or modules or group training or whatever. And a lot of speakers I see building their careers, and it makes no difference whether or not your value is creating change. That's the thing. I had a program when I first started, and we were selling it 100 units a week, which at $2,500 per course was okay, because I was like, oh my God, I feel like a brain surgeon. I'm making so much money. But I pulled it because 1% of the people were even watching their welcome video. And I was like, well, they were the ones crying that I got to take this from that and borrow from there, and I just couldn't do it in good conscience. So let's tell us what you feel about all of that. How do people gauge choosing kinds of events and speakers that really can help them change, and not just go to be seen there, or because so and so is going to be there, or
A lot of it has to do with our own internal alignment. So that's something that I really bow down to, is what is the alignment of myself and another person. I'll never break my alignment or have someone break their alignment. So what you're referring to, the image I got was what's called the table rush, where the speaker makes an offer where you get to rush to the back and be one of the first 21 people. If it's a conference of a few hundred, you're going to be one of the first 21 people to sign up. And you see people climbing over there as if they are going to be getting $5,000 as opposed to giving $5,000. And first time I saw this, I thought this was madness. And at the lowest level, it's what you referred to, where people, the one selling it, doesn't care at all whether people even open the content. As long as they put their credit card and it goes through, that's all that matters to them. And I find that's a smaller percentage of the industry, yet it's the percentage that it's so, you might say, it's easiest to judge that people, they stand out. And we don't want to perhaps see more of that in the world. What I found is that there's the next level beyond that, where a speaker may use some of those tactics, yet they do it in a way that does have integrity, because people have a certain inertia and attachment to our comfort zones, just part of being human. So it's scary to invest. And some of these programs can actually positively change our lives. Truly.
Yeah.
Now, that said, no one's life, I want to be very clear on this, no one's life will make or break depending on whether they sign up for a program. So there is no sense of like, I need this. Notice if you feel that way. It's the same thing with a romantic partnership. I need to be with this person. No, you do not. You will go on. You are a sovereign, powerful being. If you're not aligned, if you're not really a yes to this, then listen to that. That's your alignment speaking to you. So even amidst that table rush, I remember the first significant purchase I made where this leader, I was struggling with my coaching business in 2011. And it was all about mastering sales at the time. And I had not taken any sales training before. So then there was this offer. People are rushing the back to sign up. And what I ended up doing is I pulled one of the staff people into the lobby for no exaggeration, an hour and a half. And I talked to them about my situation and what your program does. Is it a fit for me? And I really liked how she just listened to me and was very patient with me. I signed up for it, just threw it all on my credit card, and that cost $4,300 at the time. And I made $12,000 in the first 3 weeks after I started that program. And that's what I credit for launching my first six-figure business in the coaching industry. So that had integrity with it because they actually delivered, really honored my own alignment.
Now, let's just say hypothetically, the opposite had happened. Nothing. And you would put all that money in it, because a lot of people, I find, John, come running into divine opportunities, because there's a difference between just any old opportunity and a divine one or a sacred opportunity, because the law of frequency and all the things I ascribe to. But they come in smelling like soot because they've been burned, and it sometimes they can't wrap themselves around the beauty of the truth in front of them, because they haven't changed their scorched outfit that they wore in the last, you know what I'm saying? They haven't shed that thing. That, how do you suggest people, if you feel like you got duped or you got burned, how do you get over that to be open to an experience like the one you just told us about, where it changed your life in 3 weeks?
I think it comes down to the bounce back factor. Anything in life, like how quickly do you bounce back? So I could think of 2 experiences where I signed up for something and then what they actually delivered was so much less than what I was hoping to get from it, to the point where there was no doubt I wanted a refund. I was much better off not having signed up for it. As much as I look for the bright side in any situation, I look for the golden people, it was just way too hard. The effort it would take to find the gold in this situation was just not worth the effort. I'd rather be doing something else with my time. And they were really strict about the refund policy, because it's like 3-day window. And even though the course started more than 3 days from when I signed up for it, they gave me a lot of blowback on that. And I thought that lacked integrity as well. But if you think of it like in the course of a romantic career, I go back to that, right? Because people have a frame of reference for that usually. Yeah. You're going to have some bad relationships. You're going to have some bad dates. You have a choice whether you turn jaded about it and say, well, I'm just not going to go on dates anymore. Or you could learn from that and heighten your discernment, knowing that romantic love is a beautiful thing of being human that you don't want to cut yourself off from. Well, so too with transformational seminars. It is truly beautiful what can happen for you in your life. So don't cut yourself off from that either.
Exactly. Last thing on that, and then I want to get into what you're bringing to Chicago, and also Red Pill XP. We want to talk about that. So last question about this. Share with us your opinion or your thoughts on the difference between an event grouping, and we know those, you know, I've had coaching clients had to break of being event groupies. They're spending thousands of dollars for this marketers cruise, this thing, and come back and nothing even lined up to convert into anything. You know, how many appointments do you have for next week? What connections did you make? This, that, and the other. I think a lot of people have an issue differentiating between value and price tag. Value and price tag. So I want to ask this. Is there a mindset, in your opinion, John, that distinguishes the person who is an event groupie from the person that knows that they are investing every time they go somewhere in their growth?
It comes down to your relationship with results and your willingness to call yourself out with those lack of results. So if you're committed to results or not. So this is where athletes have a certain advantage in business because they know that if they don't score points, they're going to get cut from the team. Well, if as an entrepreneur you approach it the same way, that if you don't make sales, then you're not going to be in business, then that would be a healthy frame to have.
Yeah.
The thing is that people have credit cards, they have spouses, they can say, you're not being supportive of me if you don't pay for my going to this seminar. And, nothing is black and white, right? Because there are times when people are really committed to the results, and there is a time for their spouse to really stand by them and support them. Usually that is the case from the circles that I move in. I'm not around a whole lot of, you call them event groupies, I call them self-help junkies. I find that it's definitely more common, I think, in the personal development space as opposed to the business development space.
Yes.
Yeah. That personal development people treat kind of like therapy, which might be valid, where they just want to keep coming back again and again. And it just feels good to be coming to those. And if they're even maintaining their sanity, if more so than if they did not come, then who are we to say that they shouldn't be there? It's up to them what results they want to get from it. That said, if they go in with the intention to really change their behavior and they're not, then they're just kind of full of it. Like they're not doing something in between going to seminars. And then that could be the fault of the seminar leader who's not designing it, a structure for them to really step into. And certainly a lot of the responsibility comes to the person who maybe chose that seminar when they didn't check in with themselves. Like, is this really going to give me the result that I want? Or did not generate their participation more and say like, all right, this is how I make the most of this seminar, knowing that nothing is perfectly designed for anyone, right? We all do the best we can as program designers. And that person's going to have to bring it to what actually it's going to make a difference for them.
How do you know when a stage is right for you personally, John, to come and share from?
I feel into it. Like, is it exciting for me? Or is it coming from this place of I should do it? So it's exciting to be going to Xcellerator, to be meeting you. So Martha and I have had several conversations. I just like how she thinks and she vibes.
I do too.
Very impressive person, especially
she's like that girl.
She's a what?
You're like that girl. You're probably too young to know who that was. Anne Marie Baxter. That girl. It was, Mary Tyler Moore. That, that girl, she's that girl. Martha. Yeah. So go on.
Yeah. So it's the energy of the organizer, I think, is really important. If you have the opportunity to talk one-on-one with the organizer, if they are too busy to talk with you, then that would raise a question of like, well, what kind of experience are you going to have? So if it's a music festival, you may not talk to the organizer, but that's a much different kind of event than, say, a seminar. And you ought to be able to talk with someone who's on the creative team, and whoever the representative is, have a one-on-one with them. And if they don't leave you, I feel really strongly about this one. If they don't leave you feeling seen and that you're going to get tremendous value out of it, then do not go.
They don't leave you feeling seen. Write that one down for sure, you guys. Write that one down. I would take that anywhere.
Yes, going back to dating, right? If you don't feel seen by that person, don't go back for a second date. So it's the responsibility of that person. And a lot of times the person who's answering the phones can be saying, well, our trains have impacted 2 million people, and they have said that this has been a positive experience that really changed your life. That's not leaving you feeling seen. Really what that person should be doing is, well, what do you want to get out of this experience? Okay, so what you're saying is that you want to have a breakthrough in your marriage. You want to make 10 times more money by the end of the year. Okay, what do you think might be in the way of that? Okay, and then at that point, after listening, then the person say, well, here's what we can do that could help you with that. And then check in. Do you feel this is the right fit for you? And if they're asking you those questions and really making sure it's in alignment for you, that's someone you can trust probably.
Absolutely. Tell us about this Red Pill XP we see on the screen. Say someone, I'm going to drop all these in the comment section for easy access at the conclusion of today's broadcast, by the way, you guys. But what's going to happen when they click on this one?
You're going to go to the webpage for our 3-day event. So we do this once or twice a year. And this is a summit for the most successful, rule-breaking, matrix-busting entrepreneurs on the planet. Something that Monsi and I feel really strongly about. That
Oh my God. Wait, did you just describe me to a T? I think so. Okay. I need to click on it my damn self. Okay, go on. Tell us more.
So this is not for everyone. This is not for people who think, what is this conspiracy theory that you're talking about, that there are systems of control on the planet? This is not for someone who just wants to go along and just follow the rules of life and not rock the boat. We're boat rockers. We are disruptorpreneurs. So looking at the matrix, we define a matrix as any system of control that prevents greater health, wealth, and sovereignty. So big pharma would be an example, frankly, of a system of control, and the Western allopathic corporate healthcare system that tells people, well, if you start sniffling, then here's a pill. If you have any condition anywhere, then here's a pill, go into surgery, do these things that aren't really supporting the longevity of the individual. So corporate healthcare is one of the distinct matrices that we're here to bust up and really take a stand for natural medicine. Other ones could be around mass media, where we have people who recognize that we're being, in many ways, brainwashed by social media and mass media and a lot of the sovereignty and critical thinking, like the way that I'll post on Facebook and really make and whenever I post on Facebook about critical thinking, I get very little traction. I talk about awakening humanity. Whenever I was talking about the vaccine, for instance, because I'm not pro or anti-vaccine. I'm pro critical thinking, and I'm anti telling people to shut the F up without even hearing their side, right?
Okay.
So when I would post about that, though, the way that if I got any attention, it would be waves of negative attention saying that, well, you're clearly anti-vaccine. And then this same, I know we have some connection with Facebook. You know, I had logged in with my Facebook account to be on here. And here it goes. On Facebook, you have the I got my COVID-19 vaccine, like that people could slap on their profile pic.
Yeah.
Right? And like, do you think there might be some agenda behind that between like big tech and big pharma? Like, it's just right there in front of you. Or when CNN, like, this message is sponsored by big pharma, right after they just, Anderson Cooper talks about the mounting rate of COVID-related deaths, right?
It happened to be,
every
right.
death for those 2 years is COVID-related, right? Like, that's how they calculated those figures. So that's a level of critical thinking that we really are dedicated to seeing more of. And it's not paranoia. Everything I said to you is fact. Like the big pharma ad for Pfizer is right after they talk about the COVID test on the news.
If you really,
right. So to get curious about that and say, well, what do we do about it? So these are all leaders who are disrupting a matrix of some kind, who are either leading events that are out to disrupt these areas by bringing other fellow disruptor entrepreneurs together, to reducing tax burden. We have someone who's I'm really excited about how to reduce your tax burden to as low as 5%.
Nice.
Yeah. He'll be there. Another disruptorpreneur who has created a credit card processing company that only takes 5% as opposed to the very high 3.5% standard that we've all accepted. That's another matrix that we've accepted, right? Again, a system of control that prevents health, wealth, and sovereignty. So busting up that matrix. So these are some of the people that we're bringing together.
When is it?
Every time. This is September 26th through 28th in San Diego.
Okay, you guys head over and check that out. And if you're in the Chicago area or would like to be, you can meet Jon in person at the Xcellerator Business Summit, August 31st through September 1st. Again, on all my pages, you can find a pinned opportunity at the very top of the page, or you can just head over to martharazzo.com. That's Martha Razzo, R-A-Z like zebra, O.com. And we've already dropped all of Jon's connectors into the comment section. So at the conclusion here in a couple minutes, feel free to head over to Red Pill and check out that one, redpillxp.com, and you'll find everything you need for that wonderful retreat. So, how many stages you got in front of you between now and the rest of the year? Do you like to take a year on, a year off? How's it work for you? And where can people go to find where you're going to be at any given point? Is there you have your own personal website, or is it the Red Pill XP?
I leave the Red Pill XP. We're developing the Abundant HealthPreneur website. That's me and Monty together on that one. So follow me on LinkedIn. Monty's a big advocate on LinkedIn. So that's one thing we do for Abundant HealthPreneur is help people really become LinkedIn celebrities. She's much further along than I am, but really leveraging the power of LinkedIn. So that's the easiest way to follow me. And I love it. I love speaking at events and connecting with people. So it's the primary way I grow the business. It's one reason why I need Monty in my corner to say, hey, it's not the only way. LinkedIn is a really powerful way too.
Now you guys see why I brought her in on the front end. I already know. It's like, it's just, hey, everybody loves harmony. When you can hear two voices at once. I think that's a beautiful thing. And you guys have that. So, and don't forget, you'll be able to meet this wonderful woman that he's been speaking of on, what did I say it was? August 14th, I believe.
August 14th.
Yeah. August 14th, which is a Monday. I'll remind you as we get closer to that day. Final thoughts about anything that's pressing or burning on your spirit today. Here's your Jerry Springer moment.
I would just encourage you, if you're listening to this, to really tap into your own highest truth. So the discernment of whether this is a yes or no. So not coming from our mind, coming from our intuition. The spirit always knows, whether it's signing up for a program, whether it's going on that date, whether it's still hanging out with that friend that you had been friends with in the past, but in this moment, does it really feel alive and aligned for you? Really hone listening into that voice of yours.
That's absolute. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. Couldn't have said it better myself, John. Thank you for that. So listen, you guys, as we get closer to this event, the Xcellerator Business Summit, I'm going to show you more and more and more of the luminaries who will be there to just give you what you need to take your life, your business, your mindset to an all new level. It's a part of the awakening, and I hope you're there with us. August 31st and September 1st coming up in just a few weeks. We'll be here before we know it, so don't hesitate. Don't procrastinate. Get over and check it out. Get your tickets, and we will see you there. John, thank you so much. Thank you for getting up so early. I have a feeling you're up anyway, but thank you. So I can't wait. Let's hang out when you're here.
Yes, can't wait for that.
I really want to talk to you about I think I want to work with you somehow. I just love I was sitting here looking at you at the very beginning. I was like, boy, if he'd have showed up at least one of those Ryan Seacrest auditions, we wouldn't probably even know Ryan Seacrest's name, because I think you could have knocked him out of the park. I just love what you have. It's very catchy, very contagious, and in a good way. So looking forward to seeing you here in Chicago.
Thank you, Dr. Lover.
Of course. Listen, and I'm looking forward to seeing each of you, God willing, tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Central. Right over there, we'll meet on the front porch where together we can create another divine moment in time, but only if we show up. Get out there and be the best you today. And as I tell you every day in closing, I love me some you. And there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, John. Great job. Great job. Bye, you guys.
Show me your soul.